What happens when the player your biggest rival desperately wanted suddenly becomes available, and you're the one in position to get him? When do you pull the trigger on a veteran acquisition that might cost you a first-round pick but could transform your team's identity? Welcome back, folks. It's Thursday, January 29th, 2026, and we got an absolutely explosive development that's going to make Toronto Maple Leafs fans absolutely sick to their stomachs. According to a report from Nestor Quickston, updated last night, Nazem Kadri isn't just available. He's willing to be traded. And guess who's in pole position to land him? The Montreal Canadiens. This isn't just smoke anymore. This is a real battle plan taking shape. And if Kent Hughes can pull this off, Montreal will have one of the deepest, most annoying center rotations in the entire NHL. Let me set the stage for you. Kadri's camp has informed the Calgary Flames that he's open to being moved. At 35 years old, he's got a Stanley Cup ring from 2022 with Colorado, and he wants another one before his career ends. He wants to compete. He wants to win. And Calgary, stuck in rebuild mode, can't offer him that. For Montreal, this is music to their ears. The Canadiens have been listed as one of the primary interested teams throughout the season, and now the door is wide open. But here's the critical question. Why does a young team like Montreal want an expensive veteran? The answer is simple. Pedigree. Kadri brings championship experience that this group desperately lacks. Yes, Montreal has young talent. Suzuki, Caulfield, Demidov, Slavkovsky. The offense is dynamic, fast, and exciting. But in the playoffs, you need grit. You need edge. You need that player who irritates opponents, wins a crucial face-off, and scores a dirty goal. Kadri is that guy. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The report casually mentions something absolutely critical. The addition of Philip Danault earlier this season helped alleviate the urgency. Wait, did you catch that? Danault is already back in Montreal. We brought him back, and he's been providing exactly what we needed: defensive stability and veteran leadership. Now imagine adding Nazem Kadri to that mix. Picture this center rotation. Nick Suzuki as your star first-line center. Nazem Kadri as your gritty, offensive second-line center. Philip Danault as your shutdown defensive specialist. And Kirby Dach or Jake Evans rounding out the depth. That's not just depth, that's a fortress down the middle. How many teams in this league could compete with that center rotation over a 7-game playoff series? Not many. But I know what some of you are thinking. Do we really need another center? Kirby Dach and Jake Evans just came back from injury. That's a valid question, and the report addresses it with brutal honesty. Yes, Dach and Evans being healthy is a welcome boost. But the massive question hanging over the Bell Center is durability. Kirby Dach, unfortunately, has a medical history that doesn't allow us to trust him for 82 games plus playoffs. His career has been marked by injuries. Jake Evans is a warrior, but he gets hurt too. The strategy of bringing in Kadri is essentially buying a luxury insurance policy. By adding Kadri, you take the weight off Dach's shoulders. You don't need Dach playing 20 minutes a night against the opponent's best offenders. You can use him on the wing or as a protected third-line center, preserving his body for the long haul. Reducing your dependence on injury-prone players is what separates teams that want to compete from teams that want to win. Now, let's talk about the complicated part. The money. How on earth can Montreal afford Kadri's salary? According to Puckpedia, the team has less than $100,000 in cap space right now. We're at the absolute limit. This is where the financial engineering comes in. The report suggests a clear path. Patrick Lane on long-term injured reserve. We don't know the exact severity of Lane's situation in this timeline, but the text says that placing someone like Patrick Lane on LTIR would free up $3.8 million in space. If Lane is dealing with a persistent injury, or if the team decides he needs time to recover, physically or mentally, this move opens a financial window. With $3.8 million freed up, does the math work? Almost. Kadri's salary is $7 million. To make it fit, Montreal would need Calgary to retain 50% of the salary in the trade. 50% of $7 million is $3.5 million. Perfect. With Calgary's retention and Lane's LTIR space, Kadri fits the budget perfectly. But here's the reality. Calgary isn't going to retain salary and give up their leading scorer for free. The cost is going to be steep. Nestor Quickson warns. It wouldn't be surprising to see the price include a first-round pick. Is paying a first-round pick for a 35-year-old player a risk? Absolutely. But if the goal is to capitalize on the Suzuki and Caulfield window right now, that's the market price. If Calgary doesn't retain salary, which would be cheaper in terms of assets, the trade becomes financially impossible for Montreal. So the likely scenario is Montreal sends a first-round pick, probably the one acquired from Winnipeg or their own depending on standings, and receives Kadri with half his salary retained. And here's the beautiful irony that makes this whole thing even sweeter. The emotional factor. Bringing in Nazem Kadri isn't just a technical upgrade. It's a psychological blow to our biggest rival. Kadri was drafted by the Leafs. He was a fan favorite there. He was unfairly pushed out. Watching him win the Cup with Colorado already hurt them. But seeing him with the Bleu Blanc Rouge, winning face-offs at the Bell Center, leading Montreal through playoffs, that would be absolutely devastating to Toronto's morale. Think about the statement this sends to the league. We're building a team with character. Suzuki, the calm captain. Danault, the returning hero. Kadri, the renegade warrior. Slavkovsky, the young monster. If Kent Hughes can execute this trade, using Lane's LTIR money and paying the fair price to Calgary, the Montreal Canadiens stop being just a fun team to watch and become a terrible team to face. The trade window is closing soon, or perhaps after the Olympics, as the report suggests. But the movement is clear. Montreal wants Kadri. Kadri is open to Montreal. The money exists via LTIR. All that's left is a handshake. This is the kind of move that defines a general manager's tenure. This is Kent Hughes saying, "We're not rebuilding anymore. We're competing now." This is the signal to the locker room that management believes in this core enough to add expensive veteran help. And for Toronto fans watching this unfold, this is nightmare fuel. The player they desperately wanted to bring home for a nostalgic reunion is instead going to their hated rival. He's going to help Montreal compete in the Atlantic Division. He's going to make life miserable for the Leafs in head-to-head matchups. The Kadri watch is officially on, folks. This is happening. The pieces are falling into place. And if it goes through, the Montreal Canadiens just became one of the most dangerous teams in the Eastern Conference. What do you think? Should Kent Hughes pull the trigger on Nazem Kadri, even if it costs a first-round pick? Is the center depth of Suzuki, Kadri, Danault, and Doc worth sacrificing future assets? How much sweeter would it be knowing Toronto wanted him first? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And smash that like button because this trade saga is just getting started. And we're going to be covering every development as the Canadiens continue building a championship caliber roster.